The SOE put me in charge of a new team, handpicked for a top-secret mission.
Too much of something is never a good thing. It's a phrase we become familiar with early on in life, yet fail to comprehend later on. In some cases. Overindulging can lead to many problems, whether those problems are financial, health-related, or in some cases both. Military shooters, more specifically Call of Duty and Battlefield, have been overindulging for well over a decade, with each new release trying to hype up the crowds. We see it every year. Logo and title leaks, quote-unquote. Cinematic trailers with slow and deep percussion covers of licensed songs. Celebrity endorsements. It's the same noise every year for what many consider as the same exact games every year.
Warriors. Saboteurs. Assassins!
Given the alarmingly low sales and poor reception of the recent Call of Duty Vanguard and Battlefield 2042, has the indulgence finally caught up to Activision and EA? Welcome to MojoPlays, and this is the Catastrophic Crisis of Call of Duty and Battlefield.
We're attempting to secure Objective Alpha 2.
Before we begin, we publish new content all week long, so be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos.
Since the late 2000s, we've seen a new game from these two franchises every single year, or in Battlefield's case, every other year. The annual releases have been so consistent for so long that it's always expected. The only mysteries behind each game has been when the exact release date is and what the name is. While Call of Duty Vanguard looked like it was going to be the same as any other game, Battlefield 2042 was dropping after the franchise took a 3-year break. Now both are out in the wild, and audiences are less than thrilled, and that's putting it very gently.
After years of fighting, the war had shaped us all. But the work wasn't over yet.
Battlefield 2042 would become marred with controversy weeks before launch. Those who played the beta reported numerous bugs and glitches, while developer DICE tried to perform damage control and state that the betas were using old builds. The game would work as intended at launch. Even if more bugs and glitches were intended, then 2042 was working just fine. That didn't stop users from blowing up social media feeds with their own broken gameplay moments and review bombing the ever-loving crap out of the game on Metacritic and Steam. At the time of this video, 2042 has already lost 70% of its initial player base, and the Steam reviews show why.
We have taken Gold Sector.
Call of Duty Vanguard, on the other hand, had more balls than it could juggle. Right before the game's reveal, Activision Blizzard found itself embroiled in controversy after the state of California filed a lawsuit against the mega conglomerate, claiming Activision Blizzard had been fostering a workplace that discriminated against its female staff. From everything involving the infamous Cosby Suite, to the death of one female employee, to several examples of underpaid female staff, Vanguard could not get away from the wrongdoings of its executive staff.
Oberfuhrer Wolfram von List. You are the instrument of my revenge.
As for the game itself, the betas did not perform any better than Battlefield's. Players and pundits reported the game had shown nothing interesting, nothing that made this Call of Duty any different from previous titles. At the time of this video, we have yet to see hard sales numbers for Vanguard, though the lack thereof implies it is significantly lower than the sales of Black Ops Cold War, which was released in 2020. And to top it all off, there is already a free-to-play Call of Duty that millions of people are choosing to play instead of paying $60 to $70 for a new one. Remember, Warzone still exists, and it's getting support to this very day.
Make a way out. Drop.
Considering how successful both of these IPs have been before, it's almost shocking to see how badly both games are performing. Now, one could easily make the same case for Call of Duty as we've heard before. It's the exact same game every year, and more people are starting to realize that. As for Battlefield, well, DICE has had at least 3 years to get 2042 right. The last game we had was Battlefield 5 in 2018, and it launched without much fanfare, at least compared to 2016's Battlefield 1. So what exactly happened that made these two giants fall off so quickly?
The most dangerous operators on every front, working together.
Just remember we're a team up there. Gonna be dicey.
We can safely lay Battlefield to rest for the most part. The game was buggy as hell. The maps don't really offer much challenge or excitement, and environmental hazards, they're not anything new in video games, okay? We've seen this before. Just Cause 4 had environmental hazards. The lack of a single-player campaign doesn't make things any better, and given the amount of time DICE had to make 2042, we're left to wonder why there wasn't any time for a single-player mode. After all, Battlefield 1 was praised for what it set out to do, dedicating its whole campaign to telling real stories about World War I. One would suppose that DICE and EA would have found a new direction to make the Battlefield franchise at that point, and it was a path that wasn't taken by Activision or Call of Duty at the time.
To the Fourth Reich.
Freisinger is leaving Berlin.
He's taken the Reich underground.
As for Vanguard, the question isn't just where did it go wrong, but where do we even begin? First, you had the months of allegation scandals and employee walkouts, as mentioned a little bit ago, so much so that it resulted in Activision removing their logo from marketing material for a brief period of time. Then you had the poorly received betas. However, the problems with Vanguard lie beyond those recent events, the biggest one being that it is a Call of Duty game set in World War II. It is a historical time period that has been beaten to absolute death by the IP itself for years, let alone video games as a whole, and the first 3 Call of Duty games were set in World War II. Thing is, even ignoring this, we already had a new World War II Call of Duty game in 2017, and it wasn't all that great. Couple this with Battlefield 5, which was also set in World War II, albeit an alternate reality, and you have quickly soiled the well once again for World War II military shooters. At this point, you wouldn't be blamed for thinking the games industry is obsessed with the time period, and you're not entirely wrong either.
Glory is worth nothing when you're dead.
This fight, it matters.
This sort of fatigue is especially evident in a poll conducted by GamesIndustry.biz. Results of said poll were published in late November 2021, and while the 671 people only represent a small fraction of the gaming community, their numbers are still loud and still something to consider. Only 8% of those polled said they had bought Vanguard. The rest chose varying responses, 2 of which revolved around not being interested in World War II games and or having played too much Call of Duty before.
Whatever we do it together.
Indeed, an annualized franchise set in an era that's all too common isn't really a formula for success. Another response, and the one that was selected the most, was that the folks polled are too busy playing other games. And admittedly, this holiday season has grown to be a bit crowded, between Square Enix's Guardians of the Galaxy being a surprise hit, and Xbox seeing massive launches with Forza Horizon 5 and Halo Infinite. So, that sentiment is understandable here. But overall, this all comes down to brand fatigue, in a surprisingly packed season of game launches. These have all contributed to fumbles of Call of Duty Vanguard and Battlefield 2042, who were already facing their own problems from the very beginning. Does this spell the end of Call of Duty and Battlefield though? Absolutely not. They may not be making as much money now as they did 5 or even 10 years ago, but they still make a ton of money. Whenever we do get Vanguard's numbers, you can guarantee it's going to be in the tens of millions. Plus, EA is finally starting to see the true value in many of its IPs and is giving devs more time to make the best products they can, while Activision is still making bank and laying off staff after putting them through excessive crunch time.
Sometimes the only way to honor a fallen soldier is to finish the mission.
Still, there is one way to save both IPs, and this is how I would like to end today's video. It's a very simple solution. Call of Duty, Battlefield, they need to let loose and have fun. Let your devs take the IP in new and interesting directions. What would Call of Duty look like with a steampunk style, or set in some kind of dark fantasy setting like Lair or Reign of Fire or whatever? There was a game with tanks and dragons in it, and it looked kind of cool, honestly.
we were the tip of the spear.
Why not set a Battlefield game in the American Civil War or Vietnam and let those stories that aren't widely heard about be told finally? Better yet, give fans a break. Let us miss these games. Put these games on ice for some years. Let us see what your studios can do without the Call of Duty IP.
Souls will be shaken with the violences of war.
Maybe Infinity Ward or Sledgehammer can give us an alternate history franchise to rival Wolfenstein, or maybe make Raven come up with a sniper rifle game to go toe-to-toe with the Sniper Elite franchise. There are other ways to make Call of Duty and Battlefield massive hits, and annualized franchises is not the answer, nor has it ever been. Identity, fatigue, and excessiveness. These are what make up the catastrophic crisis of Call of Duty and Battlefield.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, there's more where that came from.